strategy we have about working with the Hispanic community or any other communities, and let's try it. But it's like an experiment. And we were able to do that and come back and say, wow, that is the worst thing we could do to work on the Cuban vote in Miami. We thought that was going to work. Man, that was wrong. And the data proves it, so we could adjust. So technology and data allowed us to be very flexible and allowed us to change how we did our work. One of the things we did was we threw our technology out to be crowdsourced, to the open source, right? So anybody in the world, the Republicans could have taken a look at it. I'm sure they did. But we were okay with that because we knew our family and friends out there would make it better and better. Did you guys hear the story about Governor Romney's technology? This is one of my favorite stories. So not just even on the Hispanic side, because we were part of it, but across the campaign. We created a technology set of tools and operations never seen before in American presidential politics. We were hiring non-political folks. These are folks who were coming out of Silicon Valley. There was one guy who was a nuclear particle physicist. I don't even know what that was. What are you doing? But these were some really smart folks who were not political. That's who we targeted to come on board to build our technology stuff. And they were a little crazy. They talk about they were in the cave. And our offices on the Hispanic side got bigger and bigger because we were using this crowdsourcing, so we needed more space. So I ended up starting to have some folks. The only space was left over in the technology room. And sometimes I would have to come to the technology room and try to get in there, and it was behind closed doors. And I would kind of knock, or I'd forget my key or something. And I'd get there, and they'd look at me, and they'd say, okay, Juan, you know what you have to say before we'll let you in. Come on, you guys, just let me in. Oh, you know. All right, will you guys let me in the Thunderdome? So it was just a different vibe and a different game, but they were getting it done. So those were the kind of folks that were building our stuff. Testing it all the time, making it better, being flexible, taking input from this crowdsourcing in English and in Spanish, not just for us, but for the entire campaign. So when we got to election day, we had it down, right? A week before the election, our technology guys, it was a couple weeks, our technology guys said, well, one of the things we do in Silicon Valley is we have to be prepared for an emergency. And we're like, okay. So, but no, it's got to be like a real thing. We spend the whole day and we prepare for an emergency. It has to be close to when the election is. We're like, we're not sure about this. No, we have to. That's how we do it. Okay, you guys know your stuff. You do it. We're like, this is a waste of time. Why are they doing this? They did that. A few days later, there is something called a Hurricane Sandy, right? That hit on the East Coast and took out the Romney network. Ours never went down because these guys had kind of been ready. So it gets even better. So the Romney folks have something, their secret project, secret is the key word here, was called Orca. Strange name, okay? So they had this secret project called Orca. Ours was like, we told the whole world. And our technology guys were mad at us because they were only starting it a year and a half early. And they were like, this should have started 2 years ago. So imagine us a year and a half out, sending it out to the world saying, make it better, make it better, make it better. Sandy, nothing happens. We prepared for that. These guys never told anyone. It was literally kind of corporate, kind of sector mentality that Governor Romney came out of. They never shared it with anyone. I'm not making this up. And on the day of the election, they had more volunteers than Senator McCain ever had 4 years ago. Not anywhere near as many as ours, but they had a decent set of folks. So what happens? The system goes down in the morning. It overloads, and it never comes up again. So they literally had hundreds of thousands of people. So I mentioned this because the technology thing and the data thing is critical. And there's so much that we've learned that we think now needs to be shared across the country in the non-battleground states, because the community organizing and the community building, the respect, the empower, the include, the questioning everything, the making sure that we're going to the big numbers, trying to do things differently, all of that stuff cannot get to scale unless you have the technology to do it. We now have it, and we can keep making it better. So those are some of the things I just wanted to mention tonight that I think are really important. Understanding the system as how we take place of that stuff becomes really important as how we kind of set up the strategies. I'll tell one more story about my family because I can't resist. So when we're talking to folks about the power mapping and the understanding the system, I mentioned to them again about one of my other uncles. So my uncle Ray, my tío Ramon, to this day is one of my favorite. It was one of my favorite graduation cards I got in college. That it was like, "Congratulations, mijo. Congratulations on your graduation from the University of Hartford." No clue where I was going. But understanding the system and power mapping and knowing what it means to get the thing. So when you can imagine big Mexican family in Oakland, and so when I graduate from college, and it's, when I graduate from college, I have a big party, we have a big little fiesta out in the backyard in the alley. My Uncle Ray is there with a bunch of his buddies, and he comes up to me. He knew I was going to be a lawyer someday. So he comes up to me and he says, "Oh, so mijo, congratulations. You graduated from Hartford. That's great. So are you a lawyer now?" And I start to tell him, I want him to understand the system. It's going to take 3 years. Power map. Here are the different schools I'm thinking about. So I'm starting to tell him that. And before I can say anything, well, Theo, actually, he just cuts me off, and he's there with his friends, and he said, yeah. No, he wasn't that smart. But he'll eventually get there. You just work hard. You keep working. So then I go to Oxford, right? You know where the story's going, right? So then I go to Oxford, I come back, there's another party, right? We're having more meat on the back there. We're having another party. He's got his friends again, and he comes up to me and he says, "So, mijo, now that you finished in England, are you a lawyer?" Once again, no, Theo. I started telling him, he turns to his friends, he says, yeah, he did the very smart. They had to send him to another country. So my Uncle Ray was very thrilled when I finally finished the law. So but helping understand the system, what it takes, the power mapping, the technology pieces, I just wanted to put that out. I think with Carlos, you've got we've been talking about it when we talked the other day. He gets it. He did this for us in Yakima Valley. He knows what it means to do this kind of work. We're hoping that you all can take that question seriously. If you had to start the Kansas Democratic Party tomorrow, what would it look like? What would you do? Not just in the Hispanic community. We know the numbers here. We can pump that up, and we're going to pump it up. It's not going to be enough. What's the coalition going to need to look like? Common sense, middle class, working class. When I hear the Republicans talking about freedom and faith and family, I say, that's my neighborhood, right? And so we've got to grab all those things back, and we now have the tools to do it. We've got the strategy that originally said you can't do that. We've now done it twice. And so we're hoping we can help you all do that here in Kansas. It's easy for me because I get to come home, but I really look forward to helping Carlos, to helping the entire team. That's a little bit of what we've learned. I'd love to hear any questions or comments or any thoughts you have, and obviously this is just to start the conversation tonight. But I just want to say thanks again for everything you're doing, and thanks for having me here tonight.